Tarzan's Greatest Adventure from 1959. It's Tarzan versus James Bond, sort of. And it's only slightly racist. Theme song.
Kyle's Reviews! Kyle's Reviews!
If you want to watch Tarzan's Greatest Adventure, check the links in the description below. So as I said way back early in the early days of the channel, when I reviewed Jungle Jim, I grew up watching Tarzan movies on TVs on the weekend. And so I was reading some blog, some comic book blog, and he was talking about Tarzan and mentioned that Tarzan's Greatest Adventure is considered one of the better ones. I had to track it down. So this is a later one. It's in color. It's not a Johnny Weissmuller, stars Gordon Scott, but it's not the even later ones. They were like in the 70s. Those were garbage. Always hated those as a kid. So this one, it's kind of an update. So yeah, Tarzan does live in a treehouse. And he does have a monkey named Cheetah.
Hey, Cheetah!
That they put a loincloth on? I don't know. But he talks normal English. And he makes a lot of use of a bow. So he carries around a bow and arrow. And although there are very few Africans in it, so half of them seem the traditional, stereotypical, but the other half seem like they've been westernized, wearing, Western style clothing, which makes it really weird that Tarzan is talking to these people wearing just a loincloth. Anyway, so the film starts off. First off, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be rough. Because we can see these three guys in canoes. It's dark out. They appear to be black. But then they get closer to the camera. I'm like, ooh, those are white people wearing black makeup. But it turns out they are the bad guys, and they painted themselves black to try and trick people about who they were. So it's not blackface. Anyway, they steal some explosives, and they kill a couple people. And surprise, one of the robbers, the bad guys, is Sean Connery. So that was kind of surprising. So, but the boss is somebody that Tarzan knows.
You forget, I used to know him.
Now, this was the second movie that this Tarzan guy was in. So I don't know if the bad guy had actually been in a previous movie, or they just say, oh, he knows Tarzan. But Tarzan knows him, and he's been like, oh, I'm going to get you one of these days. So he uses this as an excuse to go after him. And there's no Jane, but there is like a model socialite that's like, ooh, it'd be a good idea if I could tag along.
Looks like you're stuck with me. You'd be surprised how handy I can be on a hike.
Get in.
A man, a few words. I like that for a change.
And so the film has some of that with her tagging along with Tarzan, trying to catch the bad guys as the bad guys take a motorboat, not like a speedboat, but a boat upriver. And the film, the middle part I like quite a bit. It kind of plays out like a wilderness, MacGyver, Davy Crockett, Grizzly Adams type thing, where Tarzan is using his knowledge of the environment and his outdoor skills to try to catch up to and get the three bad guys, because they have them outnumbered, and they have a boat with a motor, and he just has a canoe, and he has this woman tagging along, and she is not, she's kind of prissy. So that part is kind of fun, and it makes me kind of wish there was more of movies or TV shows that could have this kind of Pioneer Day spirit, featuring some sort of winsome guy that uses his knowledge of nature. It is, of course, on the bad side that, like I said, there are hardly any Africans in it. We see one that have been sort of westernized. They're like, hey, we're sad that the bad guys killed our friend. And then there's another one that are sort of seen as stereotypical, and they're referred to as cowards. And at one point, somebody gets sort of knocked down unconscious, and Tarzan scares them away. It's like, that's not a good look, folks. But so if you can avoid the fact that it's all almost entirely white folks in Africa, if you can get past that, it's pretty entertaining. On the bad side, they kind of pad things out with the bad guys having some infighting and the prissy white woman causing some slowing down Tarzan. But in the end, it's pretty entertaining. It does make me kind of wonder, that sort of specter of racism and colonialism for me was always hanging overhead. And I know, they had the Disney cartoon, they tried to do a live action one that people that have read the Tarzan books said was actually fairly accurate, but I never read the books. But it still was not a success, and it makes me wonder if Tarzan as a character can be popular, can be revived in the 21st century. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to give Tarzan's Greatest Adventure 3 thumbs up. Not super racist. It's Tarzan versus James Bond. Not really, though.